Hi, this is Linda Welsh from Linda Welsh Realty Group. Today I'm here in one of my clients' listings, a brand new listing on the market today. And I wanted to talk to you a bit because a lot of people don't understand the differences between a condo and a house. So I want to explain to you the differences and what constitutes a condo or a condoized community, and why there are pluses and minuses to buying a single family home and buying a condo. Number one, condos come in many shapes and forms. We have some here in Austin that are actually called stacked flats, which I'd never heard of before, but basically they're apartment style. They're one story, usually they're 3 to 4 or mid-level building, and a lot of times they'll either have sort of communal parking or they won't have garages at all. But if they did have a garage, it's probably going to be underneath. They may or may not have elevators. That may be something to consider if you're hauling groceries and kids and dogs and things like that, and you're looking to go up and down stairs. That may be not the best solution for you. But more often than not, what we see are sort of a townhouse style condo. And the reason they're condoized is, number one, they're either built that way in the beginning because it's the highest and best use for the land and there's a need for that type of housing. And number two, we see that sometimes there are communities that appear to be single family homes, and they are individual and they are separate, but they're still considered a condo. So what constitutes a condo or a condominium? Number one is that you don't own the land. In fact, there's no survey that comes with the property. You don't own the land. Now, you may have a backyard. This particular one has a beautiful backyard, but you don't technically own it. You own the right to use it, and it may be solely for you and your family, but you don't actually own the land. Now, why do developers and builders build condos when they could build single family homes that are just single family homes? Well, number one is that the roads a lot of times are narrower. And so they're not public roads because they don't have room for it to be approved for a regular community and community serviced road. In other words, if it's a city road, the city is not in that area, they're not going to actually maintain it. If it's someplace else where it would be a state road or whatever, it may not pass those guidelines either. So what typically happens is we will see in gated communities and communities where the roads are narrower that the community is actually responsible for the maintenance of the roads. Now, if you live in a climate where it's freezing part of the year, that could create a little bit of a problem because you may find more potholes and more maintenance and things like that. Here in Texas, we don't see that so much. But you will oftentimes see that parking could be limited because they do have to make sure that emergency vehicles, in particular fire engines, can get down that road in case of a fire. So that's why you'll see limited and guest parking every once in a while, but you won't probably have as much parking as you would with single family homes. Now, we're going to jump into another question, is HOA fees. So you really need to look carefully when you're buying a condo into what those monthly fees are. They could be very small. They could be a couple of $100s, and that might actually give you access to a community center, a pool, playgrounds. It might also service a gated entry, and of course, it's going to also cover those roads. If they're conjoined buildings, such as a townhouse style, part of your HOA fee is probably also going to go towards outside maintenance. They may take care of all the yards in the neighborhood or all the front yards in the neighborhood, but more importantly, they're going to take care of the maintenance of the outside of the building. That means that if you had a hailstorm and your roof started to have a problem or was starting to degrade, they're going to pay the insurance for that from your HOA fee. That means that your personal responsibility for insurance is typically lower on those conjoined ones because you're already paying for part of that in your HOA fee. Okay, so the great news for you there is that you're maybe bundled insurance with your homeowners and your Auto insurance might be less, but you might be paying a little bit more. Now, we've seen some communities here that have both the conjoined ones, like an A and B side, and also ones that appear to be single family. You're going to find the ones that are attached to each other are going to have higher monthly fees, but again, you're going to have a lower fee for your own insurance on that property typically. And the ones that have one unit by itself means that you're probably responsible for that roof. So when you go to get your insurance and you purchase that property, make sure that they are aware of the type of construction and also what you're going to be responsible for and what your payments are going to be. Now, I'm going to talk about one other thing, and this is something that's always concerning, is you need to check the financials for the condominium documents, and you will. If you're under contract to buy something, you're going to get all sorts of information in a certain period of time, typically around 15 days after you go under contract and before you close, and you're going to probably have a couple of days to review those documents. Now, I've seldom seen anybody back out of a property based on their HOA documents, but the one or two times I did, sometimes it was because they had 3 dogs and only 2 dogs are allowed. But also pay attention to the financials. If you find that there are lots of special assessments, or if the property looks particularly like it's going to need painting, it's going to need new roofs, you might end up with a special assessment. Special assessments, I've seen them as high as $8,000 or $15,000. And this can be something that's unexpected for you. And if it's not in your budget, it could really throw a monkey wrench into your budget. So pay attention to that. And particularly if you're dealing with condos that may be more at risk, and that would be perhaps a stucco construction. Stucco construction, if it's not maintained properly, or especially if it has an EIFS or EIFS type of construction where it's not real stucco, you'll find that if moisture gets behind the stucco, then moisture then can get trapped and can't evaporate, and it could cause some degrading and some rotting of the wood, as well as some cracking of the stucco, which also means that then the HOA is probably going to have to replace that, and that may cause a special assessment for all of the owners. So just be aware of those things. This particular condo is stone and siding, so it doesn't have a stucco problem. And if you have any other questions about the type of purchases that you want to make or are considering making, consider all of those things, but also consider lifestyle. Condos are very often called a lock and leave lifestyle, and that's what a lot of people are looking for, because they either have a second home and they literally want to lock the door, leave, and go somewhere else, and they don't want to have the maintenance, they don't want to have the headaches that come along with it. So whether you choose to buy or sell a single family home or a condo or something else, a townhouse, then please let us know. We would love to help you with that. Thanks so much.